I first learned about an encrypted messaging app called Signal while I was covering the case of Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon. Signal is an app that can automatically delete messages. So just wanted to ask you if you knew officers in your department were using an app that can automatically delete messages.
No, I didn't.
Metro Sheriff Kevin McMahill says he didn't know his officers were using the encrypted text messaging app called Signal, but grand jury testimony and evidence proves they were. In October, nearly a dozen Metro officers who worked with now suspended Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon testified against him, some telling the grand jury they used the Signal app for group chats with him. That included Lieutenant Travis McMurtry, who was Menon's superior. Menon is accused of fabricating reasons to stop people on the strip and arrest them.
All of a sudden, I feel a hard, shoulder bump on my right side.
In my previous coverage, I spoke to Marquise Brown, who police say was one of the people set up for arrest by Menon.
He turns around and puts his hand up and goes, you got a problem? What's your problem? I ask, do you have a problem? And all of a sudden, I just get arrested.
Screen grabs from a Signal group text chain show officers were communicating about arrest tactics. So we wanted to know, did they delete those messages? And if so, we want to explain why this matters. Under Nevada's open records law, it's illegal for any government agency to delete records, and removing, injuring, or concealing public records or documents is a Category C felony. One reason experts say is that those records must be preserved in case they're needed as evidence in court. Have you heard about government agencies and police officers using this app?
Oh yeah, government agencies and police officers love to try to circumvent the public records laws.
Las Vegas-based First Amendment attorney Mark Randazza explained to me why he believes elected officials and officers use an app like Signal.
They use it because their messages to one another are presumptively public records. So when the public or reporters or other government agencies want to see those records, they'd like to be able to speak to each other in complete privacy. The problem with that desire is that they don't get to have that level of privacy.
I went on Signal's website to find out what a disappearing message looks like. It states, quote, each and every disappearing message will have a timer countdown icon that is visible at the bottom of the message bubble. I downloaded the Signal app myself and tried both deactivating and activating the disappearing messages function. You can see the timer countdown icon is only available when the disappearing messages setting is on. I then went back to grand jury evidence of the selected screenshots from the Signal group text chain. You can see all of the text bubbles have the timer countdown icon in the bottom corner.
They can be purged within a minute of sending them, 10 minutes, an hour, a day, whatever it is. That's a very attractive function because once the message is gone, it's gone forever because it's encrypted.
And if it's gone forever, so is the public record. Metro's use of the Signal app came to light during testimony in the Menon grand jury proceeding. A juror asked one of the officers if there were records of the chats. Metro officer Stephen Casaro answered, quote, to my knowledge, the Signal app has an automatic delete. And Metro officer Eric Sanchez testified he took a screenshot on his phone to keep as evidence just in case he ever needed it, which is how we're able to see them and show them to you. Hello, I'm J1 with Channel 13.
Hi, J1.
After multiple requests to talk with Sheriff McMahill about Menon's case were denied or unanswered, I went to the October 31st Metro Fiscal Affairs Committee meeting to ask the sheriff directly about officers using Signal. Do you have anything to say about that?
It's against our policy.
And are you committed to transparency in your department? Randazza questions if the app is a way to avoid transparency and accountability.
Generally, you use Signal because you're concerned about the government spying on your messages. When the people you're worried about spying on your messages are the ones sending the messages back and forth, it just wouldn't make any sense for them to use it unless they were using disappearing messages.
Why is that concerning to the public?
I think for a lot of reasons.
Freddie Martinez is a director at Lucy Parsons Lab, a transparency and police accountability organization based in Chicago.
When you think about that in the context of police officers who can just download their own apps, delete messages on their own, it really kind of shows how limited the public is in even enforcing the public records laws that we do have.
So whether or not they intend these messages to be secret, the very use of one of these apps makes it seem like they're trying to keep the information away from the public.
Melissa Blasius is the senior investigative reporter at our sister station in Phoenix, Arizona, ABC 15.
Government officials' use of a secret messaging app.
She's also reported on elected officials and police officers using the Signal app there.
Well, in the case that involved the police officers involved in a shooting here, the question was, what exactly were the officers talking about during their investigation of a crime leading up to the shooting? And shouldn't that be important information to be later shared with the courts, prosecutors, and the jury?
What happened as a result of your guys' reporting?
So the city eventually put out very specific rules that said that you can't use a Signal or WhatsApp or any kind of encrypted messaging app to communicate city business. So basically told city workers to knock it off.
Blasius tells me since that report, Phoenix government officials are required to retain encrypted app messages. As for Nevada, the state requires law enforcement agencies to adopt a written policy concerning the use of mobile devices and certain mobile apps by law enforcement. So I filed a public records request to get Metro's policy. The department sent me this administrative notice, which was addressed to all personnel the very same day that I went to the Fiscal Affairs Committee meeting and talked to Sheriff McMahill. It states, quote, department personnel are reminded all business-related communication must comply with Nevada law. Metro also sent me a list of approved mobile applications, and Signal was not one of them. How, as a sheriff, are you committed to transparency?
It's pretty clear that I'm holding Mr. Menon accountable in a lot of different ways.
I'm the sergeant, idiot.
I'm continuing to listen to your concerns and dig into this story. I'm also working to learn if any other officers within Metro who were involved in these arrests and were using this app may face disciplinary actions as well. So far, only Sergeant Menon is facing charges. On the Strip, I'm Jaewon Jung.